Hello and welcome to another build overview video. What I have here in my hands is the iFlight Titan DC5. This is a freestyle frame designed for the DJI digital FPV system. You can see here the TPU mount for the air unit, and in the back the mount for the antennas, DJI antennas. This is a great freestyle frame. I bought it some time ago. This is version 1. So I bought it, I was enjoying this frame, and then something happened. This frame, although it's a great freestyle frame, it had one weakness, which is basically the arms. So the arms were thick enough, but the problem was that the arm becomes really narrow at the point where the arm meets the frame here. So the arm is thick, that's fine, but the width of the arm as it meets the body here becomes narrow. So narrow that the arm is very flimsy and basically breaks when you have a mild crash. So what I've done is I've crashed this frame and I broke the arms because yes, they were thick, but they were very narrow at this point, and I broke both arms. So what I've done is that I've kept this fuselage, this main body, and I bought for myself what you see here. These are the front and back arms of version 1.4 of the Titan DC5. So in the version 1.4, they've corrected this weakness. So basically, not only they increased the thickness of the arms, I think it's now 6 millimeters. It was previously 5, now it's 6. But they've also increased the width of the arm at the point where the arm meets the frame or meets the main body, which is basically here, this area. This area in version 1 was basically very narrow and it broke easily. Now it's thick and wide and it can take much more abuse. So I'm gonna build it again. I'm gonna basically mount my DJI air unit, camera, antennas. I'm gonna use this Airbot Typhoon. It's an old, but it's a very reliable ESC 4-in-1 PL Heli 32. I'm gonna use my Kakute or Holybro Kakute F4 V2, and I'm basically gonna use with it a GPS unit. This is a TPU mount that I bought. It basically replaces this mount in the back for the Crossfire or R9 unit. So basically I will remove this, I'll mount this, and this basically takes both the GPS unit and also the Crossfire or the FrSky R9 antenna. Of course, this frame also, or the arms, come with other TPU parts like these, arm protectors. So this would fit right here, so that if you crash and the tip of the arm hits the ground, you
as you can see
here,
here,
or damage
basically
the arm. Mounted the arms, the front and the back arms. By the way, the only difference between version 1 and version 1.4, which is the latest version, is the arms. So effectively with these arms I have version 1.4. So yeah, I was saying I've mounted the arms, the front and the back. I've mounted the ESC. This is a 4 to 6S ESC, and I've put here, let me just show you, I've put a 6S capacitor. I've also mounted the TPU in the back that can take a GPS unit and also can take a long-range antenna such as the Crossfire or the R9 antennas from FrSky. So the next step would be for me to basically mount the 4 motors, 6S motors, because I'm planning to have this as a 6S freestyle drone. So I'm gonna mount the 6S motors, I'm gonna solder them to the ESC, and then I will basically mount the flight controller and start making some connections between the GPS and the flight controller, and also the receiver and the flight controller, and the air unit and the flight controller. So
okay,
Now I've basically soldered the 4 motors to the ESC. This is a 4-in-1 ESC and it has the tabs on the sides. So I've soldered each motor to the ESC and then I mounted the flight controller on top, as you can see here. From an aesthetic perspective, I've routed the cables underneath the flight controller so that they won't be sticking out from the sides here. And then there is basically one cable that connects the ESC to the flight controller and basically communicates or transmits data between both boards. I've also mounted a capacitor, a 6S capacitor, and I'm gonna also, my next step would be to basically install and solder my R9M receiver along with the GPS. I'm gonna also solder the GPS, and then after that I will basically mount the air unit and solder the air unit power and transmit port. Okay, so as you can see here, I've basically mounted the R9MX receiver here in yellow. I've basically wrapped it with a yellow heat shrink tube. This is the R9MX FrSky long range receiver, and this is basically its antenna. It's mounted in the back on the TPU that is designed specifically to hold this kind of an antenna. And I've also soldered the GPS. This is the GPS unit also mounted on the TPU. I've extended the cable to the flight controller and I've soldered the cable to the flight controller. So my drone is almost ready now. The only thing I'm missing is basically to mount the air unit and the antennas and the extension cables. So this is basically where the air unit will be mounted using this TPU mount that came with the DC-5. The camera will be mounted here in the front. Also the plates, the side plates for the camera are spaced in such a way that they're perfect match for the camera width for the DJI camera. And you've noticed that there's here in the back a TPU mount to basically hold the antennas. So the air unit has MMCX connectors in the back for the antennas, and I'm gonna basically connect this directly to the air unit. So on this side, which is the MMCX side, will connect to the air unit, and the other side, which is the RPSMA, would basically mount directly on this TPU, and then I'm gonna basically connect. So I've zoomed the DJI antenna to show you the details. This RPSMA connector. I've basically mounted the air unit to the top plate using the provided TPU. I've also connected or basically screwed in the 2 side plates for the camera so that I can mount the camera also. And as you can see here, the antennas in the back are connected through the coax cables to the air unit. The connectors here are MMCX connectors, so those cables are basically, as I said before, RPSMA to MMCX connectors. Let me just try to show you up close. So these are basically the MMCX connectors that plug in to the air unit, and they go all the way to the back, and then I connect the antennas to them. And the last cable, or basically the last connection to the air unit, is basically this cable. This has the power and has the data port that enables you to basically pick up OSD data or pick up data from the flight controller into the air unit and display that telemetry data on your OSD. Okay, so let me go ahead and complete the build. I'm gonna zoom out, and then I will basically mount the top plate carefully, and I will mount the camera. So let me go ahead and mount the camera. Okay, done. I will then need to mount the top plate. It's a little bit tight. Okay, camera's mounted in the front. I'm basically mounting the top plate now, which is a little bit challenging, and it's done. So let me just put in one screw on every side just to hold the plate before we finish our video. Okay, so build is complete. I'm gonna put the rest of the screws later. Just wanted to show you how it looks like complete. Very nice build, very clean build, you know, 2 boards, air unit, antenna, and GPS unit, 2 antennas for the air unit. This is the antenna for the R9 system for FrSky. So I want to thank you for watching this video. If you have any comments, any suggestions, any questions, please post them in the comments section. Please, if you like this video, do click on like and subscribe. That would help a lot. I'm planning on another video, a flight video, basically to show you how this thing flies. It's gonna take some tuning, but I think this is gonna fly really nice. Thank you very much and have a nice day.